Good morning, Ambassador, and good morning to our dear audience. I'm nervous. This is the first time I've been requested to speak before a Foreign Service Institute. I hold in high regard, and as I told Ambassador Cristobal, a dear friend of mine, my batchmate, former ambassador to EU, Ambassador Vicky Bataclan, was my batchmate and a dear friend. So I welcome this opportunity. We at Oceana welcome this opportunity to present to you our campaign. One of the 5 campaign goals, protection of the Benham Bank seafloor habitat. So we thank FSI and appreciate this Mabini dialogue. I think it's much welcome in coming from and hearing the perspective of a non-government organization representative is really a great honor for us. So in 1998 was declared International Year of the Ocean, and as part of adding significance to that was the proclamation by then President Estrada declaring every month of May as Month of the Ocean. So that was almost 20 years ago. And 2018 is the International Year of the Reef. And we're hoping another proclamation will be made by the President declaring Benham Bank as a protected area. And as Ms. Quintos mentioned, it's perhaps the only place in the country, if not in Asia, that has 100% coral cover. So this is the meat of my presentation. I am going to talk about Oceana, of course, and why we have to care for Benham, Philippine rice, and what the strategies had been to increase the awareness and action to protect Benham Bank, and moving things forward, what can each one of us do and DFA do to protect it. So, patalastas muna. Oceana was established in 2014 in the Philippines. It's the first and so far the only Oceana office in Asia. There are now 9 countries. We are now in 9 countries, including the EU. So it was timely that we came in 2014. That was the time that EU slapped us with a yellow card warning. A yellow card means that we are being warned to do drastic measures to protect the fight against illegal, unregistered, regulated fishing. And in that occasion, then BIFAR Director Asis Perez mentioned of the plan to have a law to strengthen our fight against IUU fishing. And that certainly came in February of 2015. So the amended Fisheries Code, RA 10654, is now 3 years old. So, you know, Oceana, of course, chose the country because we are a highly biodiverse country. In fact, we are the center of marine biodiversity in the entire world. So if you look at that, that's the Coral Triangle. We are at the apex of the Coral Triangle together with countries considered as holding 2/3 of the world's richest coral reef ecosystem. So I got this from NOAA. So the red means richness and in biodiversity in the corals. And you can see that the coral reef countries, and especially the Philippines, has the reddest shading. And this is from the presentation of Dr. Hazel Arceo of UP Marine Science Institute, and if you look at the coloring, Philippines is really at the center of the world's marine biodiversity. So our coral reefs are important, not just for food and livelihood. It also protects us from the impacts of climate change, and also for recreation, tourism, for cultural, social, and economic reasons, for education and health. So these are the threats facing our corals. One is really overfishing. Our gears are very destructive. Our laws prohibit use of destructive gears, active gears, which are banned from municipal waters, defined by law as beginning in the shoreline up to extending to 15 kilometers. These are reserved for our subsistence fisher folks, those who just use their paddle, and not really the sophisticated technology that commercial fishing vessels have. Unfortunately, local government units, there are only a few of them who are really enforcing this law. And we are quite happy that Department of Interior and local government in April 23, last month, issued the first circular requiring all of the local government units to strictly enforce the Fisheries Code as amended, and requiring ordinance to ensure that the strong measures of RA 10654 are implemented at the local level. And this includes tracking device, and which is also a campaign of Oceana to mainstream vessel monitoring measures, which is now a requirement of RA 10654. And so definitely we are a major fish producing country. We have requested the social weather stations to do a survey. According to them, it's their first survey on fisheries in the country. And in that survey, 70% of our people are dependent on fish as a major source of protein diet. So imagine the implications on food security, health, nutrition, if we allow our oceans to be further depleted. And we are wealthy ecologically, but that doesn't trickle down to our poor. If we just implement the fisheries code, and the fisher folks are the first to tell you, we did dialogue with them, focus group discussions with them in 2015, and they attribute commercial fishing in municipal waters as their principal competitor, which has really depleted fish population. And this is from the government data. Our stocks are really plunging. So even despite closure, declaration of closed seasons in the Visayan Sea, for example, our fish have not recovered. Visayan Sea used to be the #1 producer of sardines in the country, but it has not recovered until now. So this is the alarming state of our fisheries. And you can just imagine also the corals. According to former B&B director Mondita Lim, during the our ocean conference last May of last year, less than 1% of our corals are considered as healthy. And that's really something to be worried about. And, but we have the law. And as a lawyer, I can tell you, we have one of the most progressive environmental laws to protect the environment and protect our right to healthful and balanced ecology. We don't even need a standing to sue. In the United States, you cannot sue unless you are directly impacted by a law or regulation. But in the country, in 1993, under the Oposa Doctrine, the Supreme Court already said that even minors who under the law are deemed incapacitated have the standing to sue for their generation and the future generation. And this Oposa ruling has since been studied in all law schools, not just in the country, but in the entire world. And now, courts of other jurisdictions, such as the United States and even in Europe and South America, are saying children can sue to fight climate change. So that's how, sa Cebuano pang ngilngig, magaling tayo, magaling talaga. But we really need more eco-stewards who are really committed to ensure that the right to healthful and balanced ecology, which is guaranteed by the state, is protected. So in that, I included the Supreme Court Rules of Procedure for environmental cases. It's the only Supreme Court in the world which has that. Why? Because the 87 Constitution, that's why we love the 87 Constitution, grants power to the Supreme Court to promulgate rules to protect constitutional rights. So, right to healthy environment is a constitutional right. That's why it crafted in 2010 the Rules of Procedure for environmental cases. And what are some of the salient features? No filing fee for environmental case filing. Any citizen can sue to protect not just his or her rights, but the rights of others as stewards of nature. And we were affirmed. I was one of the stewards of nature in the case of resident marine mammals, which involved offshore drilling in a protected area. This is Tanyan Strait. Offshore oil and gas drilling was allowed in the protected area. So we sued. My husband, who was the lawyer for the small fisher folk, sued the traditional way, and we were sure we were going to win that. But we wanted a more creative approach where you can get the attention of decision makers, such as judges, executive departments. So we sued, I and my colleague, who's also a lady lawyer, my Philippine Justice co-founder, Lisa Osorio, sued as guardians of the whales and dolphins in Tanyan Strait. Why as guardians? Because we wanted to highlight that nature has that power to defend itself, but cannot defend itself, thus requires interventions of humans to protect it. So, the Office of the Solicitor General, of course, questioned the standing of the whales and dolphins to sue. And we said, look at the receipt. The whales and dolphins even paid for that. We were required to pay the filing fee because at that time there was still no rules of procedure for environmental cases. Well, victory came 6 months after we filed the case. The offshore drilling company withdrew JAPEX. And 8 years after we filed the case, we won. The nature won. April, a day before Earth Day of 2015, the Supreme Court declared as unconstitutional the offshore drilling in a protected seascape in Tanyan. And the Supreme Court said that we had every right and it's a duty for every citizen to be a good steward of nature. Though at that time, and I think still do until now, the Supreme Court is not yet ready to grant the right of nature to sue. And for me, it's really reflective of our philosophy. Like, we cannot survive without a healthy, functioning ecosystem. How can we survive without that? And some states, countries already acknowledges that nature has the right to sue. So New Zealand, I think there are rivers in New Zealand, and some countries in Latin America also says that definitely nature can sue. But here, nature relies on us as stewards to sue in their behalf. So these are our overarching goals of Oceana: restoring fish abundance, in the country, and we have specific and time-bound goals. These are our goals, and of course, protecting Benham Bank is one of that. And it was by sheer chance that we got to know about Benham Bank. In 2015, when we were just new in the Philippines, we went to see our scientists at the UP Marine Science Institute. At the time, they were very excited of the expedition they did in 2014. And they said that, believe it or not, we still have 100% coral cover in Benham Bank. And that got us excited because Oceana in other countries always do expedition. Oceana in EU does 4 or 5 expeditions a year. So that was our contribution. We were invited to join, the only non-government organization invited to join the 2016 Benham expedition, together with government scientists and technical personnel from Navy and the Coast Guard. So this certainly is an iconic place that each Filipino citizen must know about. It's a new territory. It's as big, almost as big, bigger than Northern Luzon, definitely. And I'm sure, well, DFA was in the forefront of ensuring that our rights is acknowledged by the United Nations. So, in that expedition, and Oceana was on board already, we contributed sophisticated technology such as ROV, remotely operated vehicle, because you really need that. There was none in 2014. They just used GoPro because there was no allocation, budgetary allocation for that. So through the use of ROV, the BROVs, they were able to look at more places, more sites to conduct the expedition. I'm not a diver, I'm not a scientist, but they say that you cannot really stay long there. So in that site, I think 11 sites in 2016, they were able to record more than 170 species of fish. But imagine if you stay longer, I'm sure there'll be more than 200 in the area. So it really is a pristine and should be protected. And in December of 2016, and maybe because of the additional data from the 2016 expedition, 196 state parties adopted the Philippine rice, then known as Benham rice, as an ecologically and biologically significant area because of its pristine condition, its unique biodiversity, and it's the only known breeding ground of the Pacific bluefin tuna. They still have to discover another breeding ground of that highly commercially valuable species. So we are, being a Filipino, it gives you that sense of duty to share. So we are thankful that because of the images taken during that expedition, which we now are using, even media, government agencies, and various stakeholders are using, it really has helped increase the awareness and appreciation of Filipinos in this iconic place called the Philippine rice and Benham rice, the shallowest portion. Our campaign is focused on Benham Bank. We are very realistic. We know that still large area of portion of the Philippine rice is unexplored, but several expeditions, researches have been done on Benham Bank, and that really compels us to protect it. So that's our campaign to protect Benham rice. So it has been in the news. Well, speaking as advocates, the news has helped us in increasing awareness among Filipinos. In the lectures I do in Visayas, I ask them if they know about Benham rice. I know many know about Benham rice in Manila, but in the Visayan area, there's still a strong need to talk about it because not many are aware of it. But of course, it also hurts because we are involved in this high-stakes politics or geopolitics. So kind of challenging, really. In fact, everyone knows this within Oceana. I consider our Benham campaign as the most challenging than stopping the ban on commercial fishing in our municipal waters, because the decision maker is really the president. But he has said that this is ours. In fact, today and tomorrow, President Duterte will be in the Philippine rice. And fingers crossed, we hope he will sign the proclamation declaring Benham Bank as a protected area. Let's hope and pray that that will happen. This slide. Mukhang pinapatingin muna tayo kay President Duterte. In every presentation, naghahang talaga siya. Okay. So, this year also, there was another controversy of Chinese survey ship being allowed in Benham. And in fact, Oceana was one of those who wrote DFA Secretary Cayetano asking if the procedures for granting permits had been followed. So, and this is another, for us, Filipinos, slap to our face, because Chinese named 5 underwater seamounts in Chinese names. And do you know the meaning? I requested Des to do a research. The Ong is half Chinese. And the meaning would peace, serenity, integrity, anything but to us Filipinos who really are angry about this development. And we are not surprised that China is interested in the Philippines, because the biggest fishing operations in the world, how many mouths to feed in China? Billions. But we have our sovereignty to protect, and that's really the banner cry. And internally, we also have issues with the Mines and Geosciences Bureau, because we want Benham Bank spared from any form of energy or exploration. We know very well how destructive it is. And in one report, which they shared with media, their seismic drilling will start in Benham Bank. My gosh, that will destroy millions coral reefs which had been there for millions of years. So we wrote Secretary Simato, we voiced our opposition, and we were able to get more than 50 organizations nationwide to commit to protect Benham, and calling on government to stop the planned mineral exploration, and for the president to proclaim Benham Bank as a no-take zone. And we also need, well, some people are asking, what's your business of, pushing for this advocacy? So my ready answer is Article 13 of the Constitution. That happens to be my favorite provision, that all of us have the right to participate, be engaged in decision-making at all levels, whether social, economic, political. And we should not be afraid, because we have a stake in where we are going. So it has been a rewarding journey, in fact. From zero there are now 26,000 supporters of our online petition. And we notice that every time there's news about Benham, there's an upsurge of signatures. So what the adage says that for every crisis there's opportunity. That's one example. So we have been everywhere, as in everywhere, all major branches of government. So we have partnered with National Coast Watch Council, and we had our Benham exhibit, like what we have here now, in Malacanang. That was last year, launch of the Manamo celebration in September. And we've also been to Congress, House of Representatives. It was also a great opportunity for us to know better our representatives from various parts of the country. They're very accommodating. They want to help. And in the Senate, that's, of course, the chair of the Senate Committee on Environment and Agriculture, Senator Villar, and the senator signed the pledge to protect Benham Bank. We also went to the Supreme Court, actually. We're invited by the retired Chief Justices and Justices of the Supreme Court to speak about Benham because they heard about it. And I just don't have the picture, but yes, we were there. We were all in 3 branches of government and 2 various areas. So also in the campuses, we have been to many campuses, UP, LaSalle, Universidad, PWU, University of Manila, and even Rotary Club of Manila, former Secretary Roylo Gales, who's a member, invited me to speak before members of the private sector and some from the government. And we hope some mindsets change. And so many roundtable discussions apart from being in the website and interviews, radio, TV, and creative strategies to get the attention of our executive department. So things are moving actually in the Department of Environment, Natural Resources, because our direction is really for the President to declare Benham Bank as a no-take zone, protected area. So this falls under the National Integrated Protected Area System Act, which is being amended in Congress right now, and it requires that the Secretary of Environment, Natural Resources should endorse. So the endorsement should come from the Department of Environment, Natural Resources to the President. So we were very happy to receive a copy of the letter sent by the new Biodiversity Management Bureau Director Rodriguez, sent to the Undersecretary of Environment, Leones, that they support Oceana's move to have it declared. In fact, BMB said we already conducted stakeholders meetings, dialogue. We even have a draft management plan for Benham Bank. It's ready. So what's now essential is the endorsement. I hope Secretary Simato is going to do that or has done that for the President to issue the proclamation declaring Benham Bank as a no-take zone. So that's one option. We don't know, fingers crossed, there will be a proclamation. But if not, well, if there's a proclamation, there should be more research still, and then a management plan, and there's a draft management plan. But option 2 is really a national law. There will be congressmen, senators, and there are now pending bills in both Senate and Congress on protection for Benham, but many are really more on exploitation. So we always emphasize this is the International Year of the Reef. Let's protect, let's put sustainability at the center of all of this. And the option 3 is declaring Benham Bank as a fisheries management area, which the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources can do. In fact, Visayan Sea is now being piloted as the first fisheries management area in the country. That's a map from the before. They have delineated areas for rebuilding of our fishery stocks. So Benham is included, so that's another option. So we have several options actually. So the campaign continues, and we really have to work together to protect this unique, not just local, national, but global heritage called the Philippine rice. So this is a quotation from Sylvia Earle that, so should we race to see how quickly we can consume the last tuna, swordfish, and grouper, or race to see what can be done to protect what remains? For now, there is still a choice, and we really believe that, and I know you do as well. So, as one of my last slides, we had a meeting with former President Fidel V. Ramos, still very spunky, brilliant. He's a champion for the protection of Benham rice, so he did that article, Protect the Philippine Rice, Prevent the Philippine Fall. And we were so touched when we were saying goodbye to him, and with very serious look in his face said, please protect Benham rice. And that really touched us. So let's all protect Benham rice. This is our duty to the future generations, and we cannot say we failed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Attorney Ramos, for that very inspiring, thoughtful, and moving presentation. Now I open the floor for questions or comments. You may approach the mic along the aisle, and please state your name or affiliation. Anybody who wants to go first? Yes, ma'am.
Salamat. Magandang umaga po. Ako po si Maria Lourdes Salcedo, Executive Director ng HR. Malaki po yung aking interes sa usaping maritime. I took this advocacy when I was in Hanoi as deputy of the ambassador. But we really applaud your advocacy, ma'am, for raising awareness on Philippine rice or Benham rice. Ang tanong ko lang po is, perhaps in addition to your national efforts, which I think is very comprehensive, you go to the legislators, you go to schools, you go to NGOs, etc. But I think we also need collaboration, international collaboration, and efforts to link with like-minded institutions like yours, and also, of course, with the help of the DFA. You could link up, for instance, on CITES, mga advocacy societies, sa endangered species, illegal irregular fishing, sa UNEP, and so many others. I think we can do a lot more in linking with other institutions out there. Now, ang katanungan ko pa po is, hindi po ba lately ang Presidente nag-declare na ang sabi po niya ay wala ng exploration or activities by foreign interests except for Philippines. But do we have the capability to really, first of all, research and then protect Benham rice? Siguro po ay mainam na nga na ang itaas ang antas ng collaboration tungkol sa usapin na ito. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat po. In fact, we are really interested to also tie up together with DFA with other international institutions. Like in a discussion earlier, we're saying all of the events in Washington, D.C., New York, we can have also an exhibit of our Benham and in other embassies, other countries. And for the question on our capability as scientists, it was the data. So much has been done actually by the Bureau of Fisheries, Aquatic Resources, UP Marine Science Institute, DOST, other local or other national agencies on Benham. And in fact, these are the data which influence the 196 state parties to declare Benham, the Philippine rice, for that matter, as an EBSA, an ecologically and biologically significant area. So scientists, Filipino scientists would say we have the capabilities. What is important is put in also the budgetary allocation, and we can do that. But under UNCLOS as well, we can also collaborate with other foreign governments, but they have to follow the protocol. Like according to Dr. J. Batumbakal of UP IMLOS, it is all right to conduct survey or to have collaboration with foreign governments, but they have to share all of their data with us, which China did not, and still we allowed them. So we really have to follow the regulations. The regulations are already in place for such collaboration. And as for technology, can we guard Philippine rice? I would say yes. In fact, Oceana is part of the entities together with SkyTruth and Google, which established the Global Fishing Watch. You can check this out, globalfishingwatch.org. It's now a separate entity. All the vessels which are required to have AIS, Automatic Identification System, can now be tracked all over the world, real time. And we can certainly do that in the Philippine rice. Actually, we already worked, we presented Global Fishing Watch to Secretary Lorenzana, our Defense Secretary, also to Aquatic Resources Director Gongona, and Secretary Lorenzana said you should show this to Secretary Esperon, because with technology you can now be seen, just like Waze, what we have on land. So there is also under our rules for litigation, for example, we have the rules on electronic evidence. So if the vessel is trackable, and they are required to do that, if not just fishing but maritime vessels, then you can already with accuracy say that that vessel was fishing in that water. In fact, through Global Fishing Watch, I think it was Kiribati, which imposed a very high fine, more than $1 million, on a fishing vessel which entered a protected area. So there's now such a thing as geofencing. So definitely we can protect our waters with the use of technology, plus our rules on electronic evidence. We have that. I told you, progresibo tayo. We have rules. And we have been using electronic evidence for other cases as well. So we cannot wait to use this electronic evidence once the rules on vessel monitoring are being implemented. So right now we have a problem with the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources because they have a deadline until 2016 of October to craft the rules on vessel monitoring, and they have not done so. We were, as NGOs, had been pushing for BIFAR to create a technical working group, and they did, to have a draft on the vessel monitoring, and they did, and public consultations, and they did. The problem was they just dropped it. Last December they said they had no budget, and in January they said the consultations will be indefinite. And so we told them, this is already beyond the October 2016 deadline, sir. And we have sent really strongly worded letters to him and even Secretary Piñol because we cannot wait. We have to fight all of these destructive gears in our municipal waters. So what we did, we have been parallel to our advocacy with on vessel monitoring with BIFAR. We have been doing pilot testing. This is really using technology, tracking where the vessels are, and it is working. There is a service provider, Filipino service provider, which does not rely on the internet because we have lousy internet, but radio frequency, because he said, he's a pilot. He said, you know, our airports, not all of our airports have radars. So we use radio frequency. And he said, so we've been using that for airplanes. We can use that for vessels. And we have been pilot testing this since 2016 of January. As a result, Tanyan Strait Protected Area Management Board adopted the policy of requiring vessel monitoring for all vessels transiting in the area. And just last April 4, the Cebu provincial government also localized the features of RA 10654 and also required vessel monitoring for all commercial fishing vessels in the waters of Cebu. So ang nangyayari, kanya-kanya munang rules. So whether BIFAR does it or not, or maybe it will wait for a citizen soon to compel it to do its job. So technology is essential and it is available and we have to use it to restore, to have the healthy and vibrant oceans we all deserve to have, especially our children and their children. Thank you. Such a long answer. Sorry.
Good morning. I am Sister Vida. I am an environmental science communicator. So from the international sphere, we go to the local. I talk to the to the fishers in the Pulilio group of islands, to Palawan, to La Union, Pangasinan, and many of our fishers really are not aware of this marine ecology that we have in the country, and so we have to communicate. I think we can seize the moment. The barangay election just is still ongoing. The counting, the SK. We have to how can we penetrate the LGU in that level, because the action is there. No? While we do the work internationally, our people in the local, the basic sectors, I think they have also to understand this. And also, while I really appreciate the work that you do, I was thinking about the DepEd and the CHED to integrate this education in the professional education that they provide, because I think the many in the professional training of our teachers, I am wondering if this ecosystem is already in place. So because I also realize in the LGU, yun palang marine protected areas, ang tagal-tagal na nilang i-approve because they are not aware. Because I also work with some NGOs promoting the marine protected area, and it takes years, 3 years, 5 years before they approve the marine protected areas kasi hindi nga nila alam yung importance. So ito pa kayang Benham, and we really have to work on that level to educate and inform our people. And while I'm saying this, I'm also thinking, how can we get involved? No? What network is in place in that level? So thank you if I can participate.
Maraming salamat, sister. Actually, yeah, I mentioned earlier about the DILG. on April 23, signed by Secretary Anyo, I think that would be the pivotal document. Kasi hindi talaga yan ginawa in 1998 or 1999 when the Fisheries Code was made. So, anong nangyari noon, overlapping yung functions, use municipal waters, BFAR as primary policy maker on fisheries management. So, pasahan ng, sabihin for hindi ginagawa ng LGUs yung trabaho nila, LGUs would say, itinulungan ng BFAR. So, now with the LG really taking ownership on this, we believe that down to the barangay level, and of course with citizen participation, which is really very important, grassroots level, magtulungan, kaya ito, and how to persuade the local chief executives. I'm very happy that we have friends who had been doing work with mayors. Sila yung nagtuturo sa mga mayor. So they have this alliance among mayors, exemplary mayors, who have been in the forefront of having MPAs, enforcement of laws. They're the ones teaching. So siguro, i-mainstream natin kasi makikinig sa kanila yung mga mayors din. And then, much needed nga yung materials. It would be great to have this material on Benhamban. Maybe we can collaborate. Perhaps DFA as well, DepEd, SHED. Universities, we can have very simple material to guide the teachers as well as reading material for the students. We're all open to that, and we really need, as I've said, magtulungan tayo. Collaboration is really the key here. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. A blessed day to all of us. I'm from Dumaguete, ako Bisaya rin. First, ma'am, I would express my thanks to your organization, an NGO for that matter, advocating on this issue. And I am also an advocate of environment. I am now undergoing my National Defense, MNSA Masters in National Security Administration course at NDCP. And one of my thesis is, Binhan Rice. Thank you very much.
Wow.
And my advisor is Ma'am Fides. Ma'am, your efforts really help us in the defense side to propel our effort on the modernization of the defense, especially the Philippine Navy. We know that it's not that vibrant enough that we can acquire these capabilities that we need, especially to monitor the areas that we have, South China Sea and this part of Binham Rice. And I have seen in your presentation the collaboration with National Coast Guard System, which is really an integrating entity for all government agencies to work towards Binham Rice. Now, last week, ma'am, I attended this maritime symposium hosted by the Philippine Navy, and there was one speaker who promoted for blue economy. This is now vibrantly exploring the seas. With our advocates on protecting Binham Rice, would this not be difficult for us? Because, you know, Binham Rice has a lot of potentials to harness with. And if this is so, if the government will be enticed on this effort by foreign nationals, what would be the future of Binham Rice? So I think this is something, I hope you have some take on this. Thank you.
Okay na. Okay. Daghang salamat. Maraming salamat. Okay. Ito yung constant challenge actually for advocates. Kasi yung mindset pa rin talaga is the economic paradigm. But if you look at our laws, our legal system, nung nag-sign tayo for sa Rio Declaration, then we have the Philippine Agenda 21, dapat sustainability na eh. So kailangan talaga niyan research and precautionary principle, which is now embedded in our laws. Sa Amended Fisheries Code, nandyan din yan. And even courts have applied precautionary principle already, which citizens can use to ensure that sustainability should be the core value for every decision made. So, hindi ako makapagsabi blanket statement that blue economy is bad or good. It really depends on how that project was reached. Was there stakeholder participation? Kinonsider ba? Did it really go through a rigid process on environmental impact assessment? We were one of the first in Asia to have, during martial law, to have the Philippine Environmental Impact Assessment System Act, but we remain the weakest in Asia because we shortcut processes. And that has really tremendous effects on our ecosystems. Kung sundin lang talaga natin sana ang proseso, I'm sure maintindihan din ng mga decision makers more of the benefits of doing things which are ecologically sustainable. So, hindi ako makapagsabi, but really, kung sundin lang talaga, we have the best laws, world-class laws. I also present papers sa international environmental law conferences and they're just amazed. Humihingi sila ng kopya ng mga batas natin. Yun lang, hindi tayo magaling sa commitment, sa implementation. But it's a challenge to each one of us. We should ensure that our laws are respected. Yung issue on rule of law, for example, and that is now a big issue, and as a lawyer, I'm also worried about impacts for us advocates kung masira ang ating isang napakataas na institusyon na considered as bulwark of democracy. Ano mangyari? And my brother as a dean of the College of Law said, how do we teach rule of law? Kasi yan talaga ang ano sa atin. Tinitingnan lang natin ang batas as sign. Traffic signs, di natin sinusunod. But that is also, masakit tanggapin, pero we have to be more serious about respect. Respect about laws, respect about environmental rights, human rights, respect about the natural living systems, which without a vibrant one, we will all die. Ito yung, this is an era now where, ang dami ng species na na-extinct. Yet, hindi pa natin nako-connect. Tayo nang susunod doon kung mawala na ito lahat. So, yun, how to educate, environmental education, awareness. We can do this together. And now is a perfect time to do that. Sa advocacy, para kaming nagsisiso. Sometimes, balance, everything is good, agencies are doing their job. But when it comes to enforcement, yan talagang napakasakit. Kasi alam natin na yan ang trabaho ng ahensya na hindi nila ginagawa. Pero ang nangyayari, we notice, kung mahina yung isa, others step up. So now we have Coast Guard, Philippine Navy patrolling Tanyan Strait, and we want this replicated in the entire Philippines. Kung mahina yung isa, may lumalakas. May DILG ngayon, which we consider as a very reliable ally for protection of our fisheries and livelihoods of our small fisher folk. So, andyan. Well, ang hope talaga, hindi yan mawala sa amin. And I'm sure sa inyo.
We still have time for a few more questions. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Zaira Chapar from the HRMO. I'm I am also grateful that Philippine rice still belongs to us. And I strongly agree with the previous comments and suggestions that for us to be able to protect the Philippine rice, first we must educate the Filipinos. And I just want to know if there are available free literatures for us to grab and also share with our friends, for example. Because I am from Baler Aurora, and yes, and I really, I often go, I frequented Baler, yet I never heard from anyone about the Philippine rice. I think they're not aware of that Philippine rice. And as I did before with with PETA, PETA is People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I used to volunteer, and I grab up some literatures, distribute to my friends, and I am proud to say that I was able to convert a few friends of mine to vegan lifestyle, just simply by giving them those, by simply educating them. And I also want to be part of this. I also want to be able to protect in ways, but by simply educating the people. So I want to know po if you have, for example, free literatures, flyers, or you have an available free application that we can download and we can from time to time visit and get updates. We have.
Maraming salamat. Yes, we have. We have this special edition of our newsletter. I think we are distributing that today. That's downloadable as well. Nasa ph.oceana.org. And then we are coming up with another edition, more updated edition on Benham. And we are willing to print some more for distribution. And starting next month, we are going to do grassroots advocacy. We don't do that because Oceana works on national policies, so that's why we're in Quezon City, we're near DA before DNR. But for Benham, we're going to do grassroots, and that's Isabela, Quezon. If you can, we're working with Daloy, NGO in Quezon, but if you have friends, we welcome that. Bicol, because the fisher folks there consider Benham rice as their traditional fishing ground. And definitely more people, local chief executives as well, should know why we should protect Benham. So we welcome that. Mag-usap tayo mamaya. Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, sister.
We have the Reef of Kalikasan.
Yeah.
How can we use, nagagamit ba talaga ito, Reef of Kalikasan? And how can this be used to protect our fisheries and the marine ecology?
Yes. Thank you for the question, sister. I could have mentioned that, but hahaba na yung lecture. Actually, yung writ of kalikasan, medyo restricted siya because ang Supreme Court, according to Supreme Court Chief Justice then Puno, said we will be really deluged with writ of kalikasan petition. So they limited it to adjacent cities and provinces which has been impacted, or there's a threat of impact or ecological devastation taking place. But it's a more popular writ of kalikasan, or writ of nature, which is the only one in the world. There's an equivalent to that na kung hindi connected to other provinces or cities. It's called the Environmental Protection Order. So it's EPO. So actually we use that and it works. I just want to assure you it works. Marami nang nag-grant na writ of kalikasan ang Supreme Court. Lately was in Cebu. There was an open dam site of long-standing pinasara. So nag-issue ng writ of kalikasan. It was usually they delegate it to the Court of Appeals kasi trier of facts ang Court of Appeals. And then Court of Appeals make the recommendation, the Supreme Court issues the writ perpetually. So it works. Marami ng kaso. And then kami, when I was based in Cebu, there was indiscriminate dumping of coal ash. And coal ash, not many are aware, have all of these toxic chemicals, mercury, cadmium, name it, andyan. Kung saan tinapon. Cebu, unfortunately, is the coal capital of the Philippines. You must have 5 or more coal power plants there. So kung saan tinapon, and it contaminated the artesian wells, ang mga babae, the wives usually, and their children, had to walk several kilometers just to fetch the water for their needs. So what did we applied for environmental protection order because it affected not adjacent cities but different cities, and we were given that. The court declared that there was environmental destruction taking place and stopped coal power plants from dumping indiscriminately. Biro mo, kasi hindi alam ng tao, dinadam sa may eskwelahan, residential area, kung saan-saan. So, kailangan talaga din tayo should know ano yung impact sa mga projects in our own communities. And I saw for myself the skin diseases, even children and the dogs. Humihiga sila when they wake up, yung shape ng katawan nila nakikita because of the dust. Ganun kasama. That's why no community deserves to have coal power plants. So, yes, citizen suit natin, umuobra po. Yun lang, kukonte pang nakaalam. So, mga abogado din, mahina din mag-communicate. Mahirap i-translate yung legal concepts into simple languages. Kaya doon siguro, why there's a gap, kukonte pa lang nagpa-file talaga ng environmental cases. Karamihan mga environmental lawyers, and there are only, less than 100 perhaps? We hope that our students, we now have students who are volunteering, new lawyers volunteering to help us environmental cases.